So much being said about The Rock not being at WrestleMania 41. And while I can sympathize with everyone's concerns, I must say sometimes you have to look at wrestling and just take things with a grain of salt. Here, let me make your argument for you. Why would The Rock insert himself into a story knowing that he's not going to be at WrestleMania? It wastes people time and people's money. On the topic of wasting people's money, we paid for these ridiculously high-priced tickets, thinking that The Rock may show up, we'll get our big surprise. End off WrestleMania was something huge to talk about. And I agree. These tickets are completely overpriced, and a lot of people did go with the expectations of Rocky being there. Why did we get Travis Scott and not get The Rock when we got Travis Scott and The Rock at Elimination Chamber? That just doesn't make sense. Again, I can agree. We didn't exactly need Travis Scott, no. Or how about this one? The same thing that happened at Elimination Chamber, we could have had that same finish to end us off at WrestleMania 41. Understood. Expectations of fans worldwide were given to us by The Rock and not delivered. What is this whole thing about souls? Why was he introduced into this? Why did he carry on into this if we don't get the payoff? I could sympathize with all of this. But there's also answers to everything. First, let me say, as I said in the beginning, we have to start looking at wrestling and take things with a grain of salt. A lot of people have gotten so far down into this rabbit hole of let Papa H cook. And now today, The Rock has exposed, sorry about that. The Rock has finally exposed Papa H ain't cooking nothing. Papa H is pretty much on his Vince bag. We build it while we fly it, baby. There is no real long-term storyline booking. How did he expose that? Quite simply, one, there was no plan of John Cena turning heel until the final hours. Well, not exactly the final hours, but weeks leading up into Elimination Chamber. We needed a bigger spark for this thing. Two, Ari Emanuel, Rock's longtime friend, called Rock. Hey, Rock, can we bring back the final boss? Business is down. Yo, y'all been my God, I'm not gonna crash out. Y'all been telling me, you Cody crybabies, you Cody fans have been telling me just how much business has been booming with Cody as champion. We're packing out arenas, brother dude. Merch sales are up, brother dude. Bro, what's wrong with y'all sometimes? Like, do y'all read headlines on Twitter or on dirt sheets and don't do the deep dive? Y'all don't do the science. Listen to the crowds, man. They whoa. Granted, Cody's pretty okay on the mic. I'll give him that. Granted. However, people by and large don't look at this thing objectively. I've been saying it for months now. WWE is not talking about sellout crowds anymore. I don't know if you've noticed it, but remember after WrestleMania and leading into that WrestleMania where they started to kind of tone down that Jumbotron so that they could fit more fans in the background of that thing and pack it out even more, just like they did on that Raw after Mania just yesterday? Remember that? Remember things like that? But I also want you to realize how long them big Jumbotrons been back. Those same big Jumbotrons that would be taking up spaces where seats can be, where fans would be. Oh, capacity's down. Sellouts aren't happening like they once were. I know how we can make up for it. Let's raise the prices. That's how we keep our stockholders happy. See, people just, I don't understand when it comes to certain particular wrestling fans. They just don't want to be Look, you can like Cody, you can like whoever you want, but at some point, we have to either stop lying to ourselves or we have to stop looking at certain headlines that fit the narrative that we want to push out there and saying that's what the truth is. There's a other side to that fence. There's another side to that fence. Am I a Roman fan? Let's get to the sauce. Am I a Roman fan? Absolutely. And Roman's going to get a video because he's not exempt. Well, he's exempt from this conversation, but Roman's not exempt. What do I mean by that? I've made videos in full support of Roman Reigns, but I am also able to admit where Roman is doing wrong. By Roman taking off all of this time, it also hurts the business. He got his big storyline, it carried the company for years, and it's like he's damn near riding off into sunset without paying this thing back in its totality. He should be putting more time in. If he's riding off into the sunset, but he's trying to put things over on his way out, He needs to be there just as much as he was when he was growing into this big, huge megastar. That's where Roman's wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Now let's get back to the Cody people, the ones that want to support Cody and want to say, oh, business is up. Look at the numbers. Look at this. Look at the merch. Whoa. Look at you now.
Look at you now, boy.
Ticket sales were down. Revenue was down. Ratings were trash. Record lows coming in on SmackDown. While Cody, your champion, was at the top of it. And what did we have to do? We had to go to tried and true, good old trusty Dwayne Johnson, the final boss. That's what we had to do. Why? Because we got to keep Roman away from Cody. We can't go back there. We don't want to hot shot that just yet. Nah. But we always got the final boss in our pocket, and he's gonna pop a big rating anytime he shows up. That tells me there was no plan for this sell your soul thing. But we got to come up with something. We got to give the people something to talk about. And while we're giving the people something to talk about, this small little seed that we're planting can grow into something bigger in the future, which leads us to Rock not being at Mania. I had no expectations of The Rock not being at Mania. Why? Because they told us Rock wasn't going to be at Mania. But, excuse me, I almost insulted a lot of you people with what I was about to say. Let me say it this way. People that don't look at wrestling objectively, they like to fantasy book things in their mind. And when these things don't happen the way that they want them to happen, they get upset. Why didn't we get the payoff at WrestleMania? We could get the payoff any other time. They already told us Rock wasn't going to be there. Yeah, but that's going to be a huge surprise. And he's going to pull up because I predicted. Yeah, he didn't pull up. Now what? Grain of salt. Lower your expectations. Y'all fed into this whole let Papa H cook. Look at you now.
Look at you now, boy.
I've been telling y'all for months, this dude Triple H is a fraud. And y'all sat there and let him cook, and all he was doing was boiling water. That's it. That's all you got. Look at you now. Huh? Back to Dwayne. I know y'all don't like me for this one, and I apologize. I do apologize. I'm not going to ask for a hug on this one. I'm just going to apologize because y'all, you can't be mad at me for just telling you what's true. This is the whole fantasy way of thinking about things. But it would have made more sense if they would have did it this way. They didn't do it that way. But it would have made more sense. It would have made more sense if you just paid attention to what was going on. That's what would have made sense, because then you lower your expectations. Now, granted, the casual fans that wanted to pay those crazy prices, or the casual, I'm not talking about the hardcore fans that put their hard-earned money into this, that watch this thing on a week in and week out basis, and you go there for the love of the game. I'm not talking to you. The casuals that don't watch this thing on a week in, week out basis, that thought The Rock was going to be there, that paid that big money because of that, shame on them. They got what they deserve. Maybe you should watch the product, and maybe you should join the wrestling community so that you can understand what's going on and see what's going on in the game. Maybe. Now, the hardcore ones that paid their money, salute to you. I applaud you. You went and supported something that you love. I'll never say a foul word about people like you. However, a lot of you hardcore fans had expectations of The Rock being there. You have to stop lying to yourself when it comes to wrestling. Just stop. If you could stop lying to yourself and falling into what you believed is going to happen, and just say, you know what? It would be cool if. Not, I know this is going to happen. How about you just say it would be cool if, or what if? Take your emotions out of the what ifs. Disney made what if, not you. Not you. But why is it? It's their fault because they threw The Rock out there and it raised the expectations. No, it raised business. It raised business. It did what it was supposed to do. It planted seeds. Doesn't mean it has to grow and flourish and pay off at WrestleMania. we can go down the line and do this thing. This is something we could sprinkle more seeds in along the way, have it grow SummerSlam, you get a WrestleMania build, final boss is always going to be there if need be, and he knows how to turn up a story. And it's crazy. The Rock can come back with no lead in, no story, make something out of blue thin air, and have people talking immediately. However, on the opposite side, you have Papa H, the guy that y'all say, let's let him cook, be there for years, and business goes down. Can't get no buzz. Can't get anybody talking. Rock comes back 1 or 2 times and everybody speaks. What does that say about your Papa? He's simmering water. He got nothing. But why is it? Raw after Mania was fire. It was good. I ain't gonna lie to you. Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie. I popped for a lot of that stuff. I really did. Damn, we're spearing Heyman? Heyman taking bumps? Who the hell? We got a hood? Oh shit, turn it up! Which leads me to believe Triple H wasn't the only one cooking in there. Triple H wasn't the only one cooking in there. Listen here. I said what I had to say about Dwayne. It let me know that they don't do anything really long term. Let me not say do anything. They may have a finish to something, but they don't know what to do with the middle. There was one more thing that I mentioned earlier about the grievances that you guys may have, and that was that dumbass, well, the end scene that we got at Elimination Chamber, we could have got that at WrestleMania. Well, let me ask you this. John Cena wins at Elimination Chamber. Cody's a champion. You got 6 weeks to build 2 baby faces going into Mania with the crowd fucking shitting on it. What would you have done? Somebody needed to turn. How else would you have built 6 weeks of nothing? Y'all already shitted on it with Cena being a heel. What if the guy was babyface? Oh, Lord Jesus Christ, there's a fire. I need y'all to think deeper when it comes to wrestling, especially if you want to fantasy book ideas. And when you fantasy book your ideas, don't think that you are obligated to receive things your way. Be objective with the product. Be objective with what people say. Be objective with what I say. But also, be objective with your own thought process. There's no such thing as being right all the time. Hell, I'm sure I'm not even right all of what I said in this video, but it's hard to dispute it, especially when a fact is a fact. Good luck with that.